I think the one piece that like is really stood out for me, and I think a lot of people make this mistake, is you do a good job of not letting yourself get big, fat, and comfortable, right? So a lot of people, when they taste a little bit of success or start making a little bit of money, they get the blinders on. They think they have it all figured out, and as you said, you had a successful brokerage, and a lot of brokerage owners that they're making money. They're cash flow positive. They're making money every year, and they're not even looking for opportunities, and they say no to opportunities before even fully hearing them or being able to see them. And you were always just of the mindset that, hey, if there's a great opportunity, I want to act. And like from what you said on the today is that you'll act quickly, right? You won't overanalyze. If it feels right, if you see an opportunity there, you're willing to take that shot, and you're willing to take shots over and over again, instead of saying like, hey, I took my shot and I made it, but you're always looking, where's that next opportunity?
Yeah, I think long story short, like failure is not as bad as it seems. Like it's really not. If you look at the Constitution of the United States of America, one of the overlooked elements of the Constitution is that like bankruptcy is a right of Americans. Like if you try something and it fails, you can just file bankruptcy. It didn't work that way in Europe. The whole story of, like you look at Les Miserables, like he stole bread and got thrown in prison for like 10 years. And then there's debtor's prison, the story of like Ebenezer Scrooge. And like he would throw people in prison if they couldn't pay the interest on their loan, right? And so like, I think that's one of the foundational, at least from my perspective, like American principles is like, dude, I'm going to try it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and we'll just rebuild. And so I think there is a little bit of that in me where I'm like, if I fail, I fail, and we just keep going and start again. Luckily, I've got a very sane and trusting wife who's just like, yeah, I mean, whatever you think, like, let's do it, right? And so there is some of that in me for sure. And we just keep failing forward. I think the story of Joe Herrera is the story of a guy who's just like an average dude that just tries stuff, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but overall he's just better year after year after year. My wife and I had a conversation with our 17-year-old daughter last night about like the risk that my wife took marrying me. And my wife will say to my daughter, like, he wasn't the perfect man. I just knew that he was going to keep trying. Like, I just knew that he was going to keep trying to be better. He's going to try to be a better husband, a better father, a better business person. Like, and I think there's so much power in that. To your point, we're in that danger zone right now. Like, Taylor and I mean, our investment stuff is good. Our real estate network is good. Like, to be honest, with what we build at Real, we could just sit there and do nothing and live comfortable lives. Sharon Srivatsa recently in our meeting in Vegas looked at everyone. There were probably 10 or 15 of us at Real Broker in the room. And he's like, you guys are just too comfortable. You need to think 10 times bigger. You need to build bigger. You need to grow. This is kind of re-energize the room, right? Because there's so many of us in that room that are like, yeah, we're making $100,000 a month in revenue share. So like, I mean, it's good. So now we're pushing to great. We're like, how do we make $1 million a month? And that's kind of, every entrepreneur faces that moment of like, if your needs are 10K a month and you're making 15, what gets you up in the morning? And like, I was scared of that in myself, is if I ever get to a point to where I don't need to work, what will my work ethic be? And I'm happy to report I'm working harder than I ever have. Like, I'm pushing faster to innovate and grow than I ever have. So, I think that's the cool part of being on podcasts and things like that is people ask questions that cause self-reflection. And so we're in it right now. We're in that danger zone of like, do we keep pushing? And I got up this morning, I came to work and I did a podcast before, and now I'm on this one. Like, so I'm still grinding, which makes me really happy.
The story's awesome, and I love that, the fact, because I think a lot of people wonder that or say like, am I going to get too comfortable? Am I going to keep the drive? Am I going to keep the work ethic? And I think the answer is different for everyone. But just to pivot a bit, if, for any of our listeners, is there one book, course, mentor, coach that you would recommend above all else that you think has helped you be successful in your sales career and as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I mean, Brett Tanner's our coach. He's a KW guy. He's helped us a lot, especially from the wealth creation side. I mean, Exactly What to Say by Phil Jones should be required reading for every real estate agent in today's world. Knowing how to converse with individuals. And he wrote another book, How to Persuade and Get Paid, right? And then from a business owner perspective, I think Rocket Fuel should just be required reading. Understanding the differences between a visionary and an integrator, understanding the leaning into. I'm just a big believer. It's funny. I mentioned it a couple times, but I'm a pretty deeply religious guy, and I just don't spend any of my time focused on my weaknesses, which is very anti-religious, because religion exists in guilt and like beating yourself up. I very much have pivoted to where, what if I just focus on my strengths? What if I just don't beat myself up to the things I suck at? And I'm just like, I'm good at a couple of things and I'm going to run with these couple of things. And so Rocket Fuel really helps you to see you don't have to be great at everything. You can partner with, you can hire, you can whatever. So those are the three things I'd say. Look for a good coach, somebody who is where you want to be. Number two, read exactly what to say, because what are we really doing in 2023 if we don't know what to say?
Check out our YouTube or Spotify channel, and don't forget to subscribe.